Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is a tutorial on how to make a memory box for the Forever in My Heart album that I shared in an earlier video. This is a design team project for Country Craft Creations using Simple Stories Heart paper collection. At the end of this video I will show the finished decorated box, so stay tuned for that. So let's get started.
To create the Forever in My Heart storage box, you will need medium weight chipboard. I've already cut mine, so I will go over the sizes with you. You'll need at least probably 3 12 by 12 pieces of chipboard, medium weight. And then to start, we're going to make hinges. Because of the size of the box, we're going to have to do this with hinges, structure hinges on this. I'm going to show you a quick way to do your hinges. They're 1 inch wide. You're going to need at least 2 sheets of the 12 by 12, possibly a little bit more, to make the box. Now take your 12 by 12, I'm using the Artisan Gray cardstock from Country Craft Creations, and on your trimmer put it at 12 in one direction and just trim off a tiny bit. You want it exactly 12 so that it fits perfectly into your scoreboard. Now your hinges are going to be scored at the 1/2 inch mark. To make this real quick and easy, we're going to score at a 1/2 inch, skip over, score at 1 1/2, score at 2 1/2, 3 1/2. What we're doing is scoring on the big piece, and then we're going to cut it down into the strips that we need. Score 4 1/2. So you're going to score at every 1/2 inch mark. So 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 8 1/2, 9 1/2, 10 1/2. And then also at 11 1/2, the last one. So it should look like this. You have 1/2 inch here on each end and 1 inch spaces here. So then grab your trimmer and insert this, starting from the left side, on the 1 inch mark. And you're going to cut 1 inch strips, and they already have the 1/2 inch score line. From your medium weight chipboard, you need to cut for the lid. You need one piece that is 9 1/8 by 8 1/8. This is the top of the box. And you're going to need 2 lid flaps that are 2 1/2 by 9 1/8. Those are going to fit like that. And then for the base of the box, we need one base that is 9 by 8. We need 2 box ends that are 4 by 8. And 2 box sides that are 4 by 9. So cut all your chipboard pieces, and then let's set the box sides pieces to the side, and let's do the lid first. So we're going to make sure that this has plenty of space between these pieces to fold the lid up and down. So we're going to assemble this with the hinge piece. So I'm going to cut these down. I need 2 that are 9 1/8. Now these will have the fold in the center, but that is not exactly where we're going to be attaching. We're going to allow some space here. So I want some glue, and I want to attach each piece about 1/8 of an inch from the fold line. So I'm going to put my glue here and just leave it not all the way up to the fold line. Take this piece and we're going to lay it out here, and like I said, you want about 1/8 of an inch from the fold line. And go ahead and attach that down and burnish. Then we're going to attach the other side the same way, just don't put glue all the way to the fold line. If you want to use score tape for this step, that would be fine. Turn this so I can see it. Make sure these ends are lining up, and about 1/8 of an inch from the fold line. So that gives you a 1/4 inch space in there. We'll do the same on the other side. Let's attach this hinge to the flat piece first. On the other side. I'm going to grab my ruler so that I can make sure that we're keeping this even here at the top. And again, about 1/8 of an inch. And make sure you burnish it. So that is the lid with the hinges attached. This is going to be like a flap type lid. So I'm just going to fold these and make sure they fold good. One side will be attached to the box and the other side will be the piece that flips up and down. So I'm just going to burnish that really well. Now we also need to finish our edges. So I'm going to cut 2 more that are 9.5 out of the hinges. And I'm going to go ahead and cut here on the sides. Be enough. I'll go ahead and cut those and then I'll figure out what I need for the sides. Okay, so we have the 9 1/8. So this is going to be our ends here. We're going to finish this and then we're going to fold it over. So I'm going to go ahead and fold these and burnish the hinges. And then I'm going to put glue on 1/2 on the inside here. And I'm just going to rest this over this and attach the one side first. Get it really on the edge. And then you're going to open this back, put your glue, and finish this edge. So just burnish that down. So that gives that finished edge there for your flat piece. And we're going to do it here on this one as well. Same way. Burnish it down really well. So there's that flat. Now I decide what I want to do with this. So we have some short hinges here. I think that I want to use a complete long one here on each side and then finish this up on the ends. So I'm going to take 2 of these, the full 12-inch length, and I'm going to go ahead and fold them. And I'm going to seam these together just a little bit here. I want to burnish that really well where that seam is. I decided I only want one seam. Now we will be cutting papers to finish these edges some. But we're going to put glue on just a half of the hinge on the inside where it's folded. I'm going to take this and attach it right along that fold line. And it's going to be a little bit longer here on this one end, and that's fine. We're going to cut that off. Go ahead and grab my scissors. Cut that piece off. I'm going to turn this so I can burnish this. And we turn it and then glue the other half of the hinge. Bring this over, burnish, make sure you burnish it really well so that it sticks down really good. Fold and let that fold right there, and that gives us our finish there. And then I'm going to look at this and decide if I need to finish that. So we're going to do the other side the exact same way. So let's take a short piece and just seam that together. Okay, so there's the lid to our box. One of these flaps will be attached to the box. The other one will be a flap that we can lift open the box. So we're going to set this aside for now. And if you want, you can burnish inside here where the fold is with your bone folder to make sure you really get a good fold there, but it looks like it's folding really good to me. Okay. So let's put the box together. So let's take the base. This is your 9x8 piece. And let's go ahead and cut our hinges. We need, for now, we need 2 9s and 2 8s. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those. Went ahead and cut my hinges. I did 4 that are 8 inches long, 4 that are 9 inches long, and 16 that are 4 inches long for the assembly of this box. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take, each time we're going to glue one on, we're going to burnish this on the fold line, each hinge, and I want you to glue one to the one edge on each edge of the base. So like this. Do this, glue this right here so that it's in the fold line and right up against it. We're going to burnish that in. So we're going to get this base ready, because these are going to be gluing down inside of that, like that, and then we'll put reinforcement hinges on the inside. So take another 9-inch, burnish it, glue on just 1/2 of the hinge on the inside. And again, like I said, if you're more comfortable with score tape, you can do that. Now you want to make sure that you're gluing it to the same side, like, so that these hinges are wings coming out. And get them straight. So you see the back here, these are glued to the same side of your chipboard. That's real important. And then we're going to do the 8-inch. 2 of those. And the same way, just glue on that 1/2 inch on the inside, just one part of it, just half of the hinge, and then slip it under and line it up. Make sure it's lined up. And the other side. Okay, so there's the hinges on the base. So I'm going to turn this. This is the 9-inch side, and I'm going to put glue right in here. And this 1/2 inch of the hinge, take one of the box sides, the 4x9, and I'm going to place it right in here. Right along that fold line, so that when it comes up, it's going to be a real tight fit. But for now, we need to place it in and burnish this back side, just like that. Make sure that it's burnished, and then we'll do the other 9-inch side, same way. Glue on the hinge. Place it down right along that score line. So you have just a very tiny little gap in there. Turn it over and burnish. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the 8-inch pieces. So we're going to put them there. So more glue on the 1/2 inch. And I apologize for the roar of the air conditioner. It has gotten summertime and it's hot and the air has to come on, or I can't work when I'm sweating. So yeah, it will come on occasionally, but that's okay. It's not right over me like it used to be, so I don't think it's as bad as it has been in the past. So now the last one here. Line this up. Flip it over and burnish. Okay, so now we're ready to bring these sides together. I may have cut more of these than I needed, of these 4-inch ones. So let's take 4 of them. I'm going to fold and burnish those. think I may have miscounted, so I'll correct that in my cutting guide for you. I think you only need 8 versus 16. So here we go. Now then, we're going to, this is going to be the inside of your box. This is where it's going to come up. It's going to be really tight fitting. Okay. So I want to glue on the inside again of the hinge, just on half of it on the 4-inch hinge piece. And we're going to glue it to the end of this bigger side here, just like that, and one on each end. I'm going to turn this around so I can see the other side. So this is going to be the same way, one on each end of the bigger, the longer piece side. It doesn't really matter, but that's just, I'm just using the longer one. So we'll put it here. And one more. This is what will connect it all together. Then we will put reinforcing hinges on the inside of the box, and then we'll finish the edges as well. Okay, let's turn it over and make sure we burnish everything. Right here, here. Okay. So I'm just going to bring up this one side here. We're going to bring this up, and we're going to attach with glue. I'm going to turn this, maybe a little hard for you to see. So I'm going to put glue on this hinge part and this one over here. And then let me grab some clips. We might need some clips, so grab some of those, bring this up, bring this side up, and match these up. Pull it in tight. Now I am putting the shorter one to the inside of this longer one. Kind of even that up and burnish really well. Make sure it's lined up. I'm going to clip it right here. And bring this one up as well. And again, this shorter one, let's see here. Actually, it's the longer one. Now the shorter one goes to the inside of the longer one. Make sure you've got it really tight here. You're going to have to hold. Now we'll do the other side the same way. We're going to put glue on the hinge of the cardstock. Bring this up. And burnish. Now you're going to look at your corners. If you have any paper sticking over, then you will want to trim that off. You may have just a tiny bit here. So check along that edge there. just like that. Maybe one more here. This one kind of sticks over a little bit right there. Okay, so we got that. So now we're going to take our hinges. So you're going to dry fit. So take the long ones. You might need to trim just the tiniest bit on the end. We're going to fold these and burnish just like we did before, except this time the glue is going to go to the outside. So I've got the two long ones first, and I am just going to put glue on both sides of this hinge on the outside. So you see I have it folded. Here's the fold right here, because you want to take this and you're going to put that fold right into the box, the seam line of the box, and then burnish that in. So the fold of the hinge goes into the seam, inside seam of your box, like that. So go ahead and do the other side. That in. Make sure that fold goes right into the seam of the box. Reach in there and burnish. Wipe up any excess glue. I just use my bone folder to wipe up any extras. Okay, so we have the two sides done. Okay, now we're going to do the 8-inch. So I had the quantity of these 8-inch and 9-inch hinges correct. And we're only going to need 4 more of these 4-inch, so I apologize if you cut extras. Hopefully you will follow the cutting guide and you won't have cut extras out. So again, glue on the outside of the hinge. And then fit this down into that section, and I didn't trim it off, but I think it's going to fit just fine. And really give it a good burnish. Okay, and you see there we need one more. Okay, now we're ready to do these up the side. So we'll do the 4-inch. Let's go ahead and score all these. Or I mean, burnish, fold and burnish them all. And these will be done the same way. The glue will go on the outside of the hinge piece. So the glue on the outside, you got your fold there. Take this and fit it down into that. Now I should have checked the height of my hinge, so I'm not going to need it quite as tall as 4 inches because it fits down in that bottom. So this one I'm going to trim off, and then the others I will trim a little bit. It's okay either way. This, just cut that off. Just a little bit, and that's going to be covered right there. Okay, so go ahead and do that on all of them. I think I'm just going to go ahead and stick this in and just trim off about 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to speed up the video here and put these other 3 in. Okay, so there's the reinforced inside of the box. The lid will fit like this. It's going to attach on one side and then have a magnet closure here on the other side. Flush on this side. So let's finish this top edge here. So we're going to grab some more of our 12-inch long hinges. We're going to fold them in half. And we need one here. One for the other side. So you want these hinges on here to give you a finished edge on this. We're going to wrap these around so that we're not meeting on the corner. So I'm going to just do these 2 first. This is the long side. So again, this is on the inside of your hinge. You put your glue. Go ahead and put it all the way on this 1/2 side. So we're going to attach this, and I'm just going to kind of center it so it's equal amounts. And I just want to attach this along the one side here. And then I'm going to turn this around, and I'm just going to make a cut right along this chipboard here onto the hinge that's not attached. My scissors up against it. And then I'm going to bring this one piece around on the side that has the glue on it. See the glue right here? You've cut. Bring this around, line up the score line, and just go ahead and burnish your hinge here. This should be straight. Make sure it's straight. There we go. Okay, so now we have it attached to the outside. Now we need to bring it to the inside. So I'm going to put glue on this long piece of the hinge. Right here. It's hard to see in the camera when I'm holding things up. Fold that over into the inside and burnish. Burnish, burnish, burnish. So see, this is finished, and then this one's going to come, and we're going to do a little angle cut because it's not going to go in correctly. So you do just a little mitering angle cut here so that it goes into the corner, and then you're going to put glue on that piece, fold it in, and burnish that down. So what this does is it gives us a finished corner right here. So let's do this other one. Let's do our little miter cut. Check it. And maybe just a tad more. Put glue on it. Fold it to the inside. And burnish. Now we're going to do the other long side exactly the same. So this one's finished edge. We're ready to do this one. Okay, so now all we have to do is add a piece here to finish this off. So I'm going to fold another 12-inch piece, and you can just overlap it a little bit. So I'm going to measure this. I need a piece that's about, for this side, I'm going to say 5 3/4. So I'm just going to chop that off with my trimmer right quick. This is the one. And you see you're going to put your glue on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and put it on both halves. And just fit that right over. Overlap just a tiny bit. And it's okay if it doesn't match up here at the bottom right here, because like I said, this is going to be covered with pattern paper. So let's burnish this side down. And just make sure that it comes over the edge. Okay, so that's finished right there. And we'll do the other side. Let's see if this one's long enough. Yes, it's going to work. So I'm going to put glue on this one. And we fit it over it. Just slightly overlapped. And yes, you're going to have some seams right here, but once you add your pattern paper, it's really not going to be that big a deal. And you just burnish it here and get your seams good. So that is the finished box base without the pattern paper. Let me grab the album. I made it a little bit bigger than the album so that it's easy to take in and out, and you can use it for other memorabilia that you want to. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to pick out some paper for our back side flap, and we're going to get some brads so we can attach this on, and then we'll be ready for the magnets, and then you will be left to pattern and decorate your box as you desire. Add a pull handle. So let me find my brads and get ready to add this piece on the back, and I want to decide on what papers I want to use for my sides and ends so that I know what I'm doing on this part. Okay, for the back side of my box, this is where the hinge is going, the back piece is going to attach down. So I'm going to set this aside. I have already inked my papers. This one is cut 2.5 by 8 7/8. So this back piece here, I don't have to put it all the way up, so I'm saving some paper because this is going to be covered. You'll never see that. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to glue this piece down. Now, because I've already made an album out of the papers that I had, I am piecing or using different patterns on parts of my box. And the front flap I will actually probably piece together so that I have enough. I don't have enough of everything. So these are cut so that about 1/16 of an inch on each edge. So I'm going to put this remember right here. On the bottom. Now I'm going to take my flap piece, and I've decided that this will be the back flap. So just on the outside top piece, this one is cut 8 7/8 by 2 3/8, and that's going to fit right here. So we have to pattern these two pieces to attach the lid. And then we can go ahead and pattern the rest of the box. So lay this right here. Oops. margin here. There we go. Put it more down towards the bottom because this is going to be a fold right in there, and you can add trim to that. So then we take this and we're going to glue this onto our box. So we glue this piece down, just this part here, onto the box, but I also want to secure it with brads. So I wanted to go with the gold, like what the gemstones are on the album. Not quite the same, but it's still gold. These are the Office Supply. I think they're 1-inch brads from Office Supply. And so I'm going to use my ruler and mark, get this marked out here. So that's 9 inches there. So half would be 4.5, 8, 4.5, 9. So here's the center. I'm going to kind of make it about 1.25 inches up. So 4.5, I'm going to put one there. And then the half between that, 4.5 would be 2.25. Well, let's make it, I'm going to put it in about 1.5 inches right here. So we'll do 1.5 about right here. So those are about evenly spaced. So I'm going to take my crocodile, if I can. This one may not be big enough. I need a big bite. I don't have a big bite. So I'm going to have to do this with a tool that I have, an awl tool. So I'm just going to poke this through and get me a hole started. Just like that. And the second one. A little more work to it, but it will work. Just be careful with your hands. So one of my positions of my hole started first before I do the gluing. So take the box where we patterned it with this Remember, or whatever pattern paper you want, and I'm going to put glue, and I'm going to sand this back off some here where it's sticking up, where I poked the hole, like that. I decided to go ahead and put the score tape on like the top and bottom edge, and I've added glue back on there, and so I am going to fit this back on the back piece again. Make sure everything's going on the way it should. Even there. Okay, now then I'm going to let that tape help hold it in place to get that glue. And then once it's attached, then go ahead and poke through. And drop a couple of these brads in. Just right there. Okay, and one more. It helps to already have those holes in there. Third one. Okay, we're going to drop those in and try to hold those in place, and then open it up. And carefully reach in and open up those prongs. And you want them to kind of go side to side, the prongs, not up and down. Open it up really tight. You want them to go side to side so that the prongs aren't sticking out of any of your patterned paper. So just turn the brads to get that where you need it to be. There we go. And the one in the middle. Need to turn it. There we go. Sorry you can't see exactly what I'm doing. I'm just turning the brad and then opening up the prongs. And you want to make sure you really open it up. So that's what it looks like with the brads in the back. and they help to secure this really, really well. So now you've got your brads on the inside, and what you need to do is really press down to make sure that it's secure. And then I'm going to take some glue, those holes are, and I'm going to fill in with glue to make sure my brad stay in place. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry. And I think I'm going to also just take score tape and secure the back of those brads, just kind of an extra measure to make sure that they really stay on good. And then we'll be ready to pattern this. You peel the backing off when you add your pattern paper. Just secure that with a bit of this. I'm using the widest bit of wide score tape in there. I'll just show you just a second here. So what I did is I secured with glue and with score tape in here, and that's ready to be patterned. So there's the box lid on. Now this will be attached with magnets, so I'm going to grab the magnets, and then we'll be ready to put pattern paper on the inside and outside of our memory box. Okay, so I've gone ahead and patterned on the outside. I put the top pattern paper here, the two sides. Of course, we already had this done back here with the brads where it's attached. And I put solid gray cardstock on the bottom. If you want to put pattern paper, I'll wait and see what I have left. I pieced this one here on the front. I put the stripe on to match this up here, and then I put the piece of floral to match the sides. Now, do not pattern the inside of the lid or the front of the box just yet until you've added your magnets and your closure pull piece. So I have two sets of the large basic gray magnets, and I'm going to lift this up, and on the inside of the flap I'm going to stick this down and allow enough room so that it'll be covered by paper. So I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to put one on the other side. And I'm not putting it in the center because that's where I want to put a pull on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead, take the backing off of these. I've got the two magnets together, the plus and the minus. Bring this over, make sure it's lined up where you want it, even on the edges, and press down onto the front of the box, and go ahead and lift them up, and then take some score tape to keep them in place. So I'm going to go ahead and mat right away. I still want to make sure that these are staying where I want them. Okay, so we got that. And so that works really good. So see, it closes really good. Next, we're going to put our pull. Now you decide on what. I had several options. You decide on what you want to use. I have this one. I think is really pretty. It's kind of delicate and dainty. It's kind of got the gold color to it. I can't remember where it came from. It could be a Prima, it could be a Kaiser Craft, I'm not sure. I've got two little brads to go with it. I also thought about using the larger Tim Holtz pull, so whatever you want to use on yours. So I'm going to position this where I want it, and I'm going to take a piercing tool because it's a very tiny hole. And so I've got to make sure it's centered. Let's grab the ruler and make sure here. So about 4.5. So that's pretty good right there. So I'm going to line this up, see if I can poke a hole through the chipboard. And then I've got a little tiny gold toned brad. Okay, I've got that one on. So I'm going to open the little prongs on the back side. There. And then straighten this up and do the other side. So I like how this looks. I think it's going to look really good. Well, there we go. And the other one. So you make sure you add on whatever you want to add on before you add your pattern paper here on the inside. So press that down really good so that it stays, and then I'm going to use a little bit of glue on it and then some score tape. So like putting glue down in that hole, and then I'm going to put score tape across that to keep it in place. There we go. Okay, now I'm ready to pattern this bottom part here, and then this one, and then I'll finish up the inside probably off camera. Make sure you pull your tape backings off, and then decorate it any way you want to. I'll decide what I'm going to do here on the top. Okay, I have all the papers added to all the surfaces of the box. As I shared earlier, they have a stripe here on the top, floral on the sides, floral here on the back where the hinge is attached. Remember here on the front, double layer this with the stripe and the matching flowers. And then the closure piece is here, that slips up. So I have remember here on the front. And then on the inside I've used the stars. Now we did want to share that when you pattern this, because you've got this fold here that you need to keep, you might see some of your chipboard in there. So take a dark gray marker or Sharpie and just color that in. I didn't want to cover this solid because it hinders the actual mechanism of the flap. So I used the star paper here. The magnets are covered. Inside the bottom I did the stripe with the words, and then I used the solid in this mint green color for all the inside. So the album that we made in an earlier tutorial, a Bereavement Forever in My Heart album, will fit in here. Okay, here's my box finished. This is the way I decided to decorate it. So everything else is still the same. I left the bottom just with plain artisan cardstock gray because it'll be sitting on a table. And the sides are done in the floral print here. The very back's the floral print with the brads. This is the hinge side. Remember is here on this paper on the bottom, and also here. A strip of the floral with the stripe on the top. Here on the top of the box, I did an arrangement of some of the leftover flowers from my stash. I had a teeny tiniest bit of lace. This is all I had left of that real pretty lace that I used on the album. I did the 3 bows and stacked them out of the seam binding ribbon from Country Craft Creations. I added a matching button from my stash. There's a button like this in the album. And so there's the flowers, the gold graphic 45 gemstones that you can get from Country Craft Creations. This is a 3x4 cut apart that I lifted on some chipboard to give it a little bit of height, and did some layering of the papers that are the same as in the album. Then the inside, this lifts up. This is either a Prima or Kaiser Craft pull. I did add on top of the brads to bring it all together glued on 2 of the little gemstones right here on top of the brads. This lifts up and back. It will lay back, and as you can see, I did the lid in the star pattern paper. Move that so you can see it. And then the light green from the solid heart collection paper, and the stripe in the bottom. And of course I made this big enough. You can put memorabilia in here, pictures, letters, whatever, but also you can put this little album that we made in an earlier tutorial out of the heart collection. So everything here is the heart collection by Simple Stories, available. It's the 12x12 size from countrycraftcreations.com. I want to thank you so much for watching my tutorial, and check back for my next project, which I'll be having real soon. We should be getting my July design team package probably in about a week or so, and then I'll start working on that and then be sharing with you in July those projects. I'll have one more smaller project. There will not be a tutorial using this paper line. So again, thanks so much. Bye-bye.